The link connector is a very versatile element in creating models in Insight Maker, and considering the number of questions I get on an ongoing basis about links, I thought I'd go ahead and create a short video and talk about what the various aspects that I think are important about links. Now, the way that it's allowable to use links varies depending upon the kind of model that you're creating. The most restrictive environment in Insight Maker is creating a stock and flow simulation where there are a well-defined set of rules about what can connect to what because of what is allowed to influence what else in what ways. So in a stock and flow simulation model, stocks are only allowed to change based upon inflows or outflows, and and variables are used to do calculations, and links are used to communicate values from one place to another. Now, you can use a link to communicate a value to a stock as an initial value when the simulation starts. The value of the variable, if it changes throughout the simulation, doesn't change the value of the stock. It's just the initial value of this variable will be assigned to the stock as its initial value. Additionally, you can connect a link from a stock to a flow, from a stock to a variable, and from flows to flows or flows to variables. And I think that is the extent of the connections that are in fact legal in the context of making sense within a simulation model. Now, when you look at creating other kinds of diagrams, if you create rich pictures or context diagrams, we've actually reduced or relaxed the restrictions on the links so that you can in fact connect anything to anything that you desire. It just won't make sense. Some of the connections won't make sense in a simulation context. So if you're doing a simulation, follow the rules. If you're creating a rich picture or a context diagram, you can in fact use a link to connect from text to a picture, or from a variable to a folder, or you can excuse me, if you use this, you can connect from a folder to a stock if you want, or from a stock to text. So all of the various possible connections are in fact allowed to give you a robust environment to depict the relationships that you in fact are trying to depict in a rich picture or context diagram. Causal loop diagrams, on the other hand, have sort of a set of guidelines about what's generally done, and that is that a causal loop diagram is created with a set of variables, or it could be a set of text, because you can create links from text to text. So instead of using variables, you could in fact use text as the various elements, and the influences between them can be either represented by a plus sign, meaning that as this variable changes in the same direction, or this adds to that variable, or as this variable changes, this variable changes in the opposite direction, or it subtracts from that variable. The red and blue designations are simply a preference of mine. Because the plus and minus signs are in fact not actually connected to the arrows themselves. They're created as text indicators, and you have to move them around separately. I generally draw causal loop diagrams with red and blue relationships for reinforcing and balancing feedback, and leave out the plus and minus signs. It's just a personal preference. But I always include a little notation on the diagram to say that that's the convention that's being used. Now, additionally, a couple of things about a link that are not quite obvious. A link is, in fact, by default, it has a label called link, and if the label is link or non-existent, then nothing is displayed, though you can in fact place any label you want on a link, excuse me, and you can alter the color of that text as you desire simply by altering the name associated with it. And if you delete it, then it doesn't display anything. You can also affix a comment. This is a definition of the, I can't spell. You can attach a note to the link, and when you mouse over it, that and click on it, it will pop up the text or the note associated with that link. And the idea is that you can use the notes to actually describe the relationship that you're trying to indicate between the variables with the link relationship. And oftentimes it's makes the diagram a lot more meaningful to have some of the descriptions on the links as opposed to having the descriptions in the variables themselves, especially when the variable influences or is influenced by multiple other elements of the model. The other question people often ask is, how do I make curved links? You simply click on a link, select it, hold down the Shift key, and then you can click on it in multiple places to put little handles on it. You can then go ahead and move those handles to various locations. To get rid of them, you simply select the end of the link and take it off and then put it back, and it turns it back into a straight line. And the only other option that I know of, well, I'm having real trouble with my voice today. The only other option that I know of is that if you select any element of a model and do Control / it will open the notes editor so that you get a larger area to work on with some options for things that you can do to the text that you don't get in the notes field over here. So you can open that window either by doing the Control I'm in the field, by selecting it and doing the Control quote. All right. Now it's not working. What is the Control quote? Or clicking on this down arrow, and why for some reason the Control quote's not working at the moment. Oh, it's because of something else I have installed. Forget that. Most of the time, the Control quote will in fact open that window, and you can then go ahead and edit the text of that variable. The problem is I've got there it is. I've got something else installed that's running into the Control quote. So hope this was informative to give you a better sense of what the options are that are available for working with links within an Insight Maker model. Take care and see you in the next video. Bye.